Danley Prison, Honduras, home to over 700 inmates, many of them serving time for murder and for rape. With 3 times more prisoners than it was built for and not enough funding, the authorities have decided on a risky approach. They've armed the toughest prisoners with weapons and given them the power to police themselves. I'm Paul Connolly, and for the first time on television, I'm going behind bars in Danley Prison to live like an inmate.
They're taking a very serious interest in me.
I want to find out how this potentially explosive system works.
At any second, something could boil over.
In a world where criminals enforce the rules.
And I definitely feel very, very much out of my comfort zone. With a steady stream of drugs and weapons flowing inside these walls, survival alone has a price tag, making this one of the most lawless prisons in all of Central America.
Honduras, the murder capital of the world. Over 400 people are killed here every month. Many victims of a vicious turf war between drug traffickers running cocaine from South America to the US. But now the military is fighting back, taking gangs off the streets and filling the prisons with some of the country's most dangerous criminals. Danley Prison squeezes over 700 inmates into a compound built for just 240. It's so overcrowded, the guards let the prisoners run the interior.
Okay.
And I want to experience what life in here is really like for an inmate.
So this is how it starts. If you're found guilty of something, if you're convicted here at Danley Courthouse, and you're headed for Danley Jail, you're cuffed up, you're frisked down, and you're loaded up into a truck.
On the way to the prison, I take a good look at my new surroundings. I know Honduras is Central America's second poorest country, but still, I'm shocked by what I'm seeing.
I suppose it's the case here that no matter what you're told to expect, it's always going to be a shock, it's always going to be a surprise. I did expect to see poverty, but not on this scale. It's an incredibly poor place. And I suppose what's constantly playing on my mind is the danger element.
For now, I'm protected by armed guards, but once inside Danley Prison, it will be murderers and rapists who are in control. As we get closer, I worry too about how bad living conditions are going to be. The government spends only 43 pence per day to feed each inmate. There's no surveillance, no electronic security, and basically the prison has been left to rot for the last 30 years.
But first impressions are that, none of what's in here is what I'd imagined. It's so strange and so unfamiliar and so bizarre to me. I mean, there were, on the outside when we were coming in, there were kids walking past the gates going to school. There were chickens. And then, in very sort of stark contrast, you see police everywhere. You see serious firepower. And, even stranger is it's against this incredibly lush tropical background. It's like a prison in Jurassic Park.
Most of the convicts in Danley are imprisoned in a compound surrounded by 5-metre walls. And in here, the prisoners are in charge. Locked inside the Bartolinas, a maze of cramped, overcrowded cells. Outside is where the guards patrol and where they live. It's also where my time as an inmate kicks off.
¿Cuál es su nombre?
It's Paul Connolly.
Primera vez que cae preso.
Yes, I've never been in jail before.
Before I can go inside, the guards check that I'm not bringing in anything illegal.
So what is it that you're looking for?
Que no traigan golpe, puede traer droga en los boxers o algo. Ahora sí, puedes comer.
You finished it? Go back again? Okay. All right.
Even though I'm being stripped down, this still feels like a fairly lax search.
There's nothing as thorough a search as if you did want to smuggle something in. I suppose in the cavity that shall remain nameless. But I'm thankful it didn't go any further than that.
The next step is to take my fingerprint and my mugshot.
Mirando a la cámara.
Then I'm sent on my way into the lion's den.
Just looking inside, they're taking a very serious interest in me.
It's here, in this holding cell, that I say goodbye to the guards as they lock themselves out. Once I set foot inside the prisoner's compound, then all bets are off. I'll have to play by the prisoner's rules, enforced by convicts known as coordinators, and their godfather-like leader, Neri Calero.
So I'm waiting for this guy they call Nari, who's the general coordinator. He is a convicted murderer. I don't know, if I'm going to be targeted for being a Westerner, for being a newbie, for being fresh meat in here. And I definitely feel very, very much out of my comfort zone at this second.
Neri doesn't even greet me. Instead, he orders two of his coordinators to lead me in.
Dentro ahí, yo he revisado.
In here? So I need to take off my clothes?
And it turns out Neri's boys don't trust the thoroughness of the guard strip search.
Yeah, I get it.
Ya demos con todo. Hacemos los zapatos.
So do I have to take off everything?
Sí, correcto. Dejar.
Why?
Por la seguridad ahí registramos todo lo que él puede traer. Cualquier cosa que trae.
Fuck's sake.
This search feels a hell of a lot more intimidating.
And you do this to every inmate that comes in here, every single one.
These guys want me to know that they're in charge.
That's going to be one out of an introduction, isn't it?
My name's Paul Connolly, and I'm on a mission to find out how one of the toughest lockups in Central America works. Danley Prison in Honduras. I'm now inside the very heart of the jail, in an area known as the Bartolinas. Here, there are no guards. Instead, inmates known as coordinators enforce the law. I've only been here half an hour, but already some of my crew have seen knives, even guns. I am properly nervous. But now, I'm about to come face to face with the man in charge of all the prisoners, a murderer called Neri Calero.
What crime did you commit?
Robbery.
Por robo.
Robbery? All right. Go down so that I can explain.
Neri forces me to kneel before him. It's like I'm giving allegiance to a king.
Aquí, todos estos muchachos que mira con leños en la
All these guys with buttons on their waists or hands are part of the prison security and are also inmates. You have to respect them. If they tell you to do something, you have to do it the way they tell you to, because they only maintain order inside so that nothing happens to you. If all of a sudden someone wants to hurt you, they are the ones who will protect your life.
para que tú no pierdas tu vida. Si tú traes dinero,
If you have money on you, you can buy one of these beds. These are for sale. If there is an available bed, of course. If there are none, you will sleep on the floor.
comprar y poderte dormir ahí.
And you sell them here.
Correctamente.
That's right. Only the bed without a mattress will cost you $135 here.
That was a baptism of fire. I am totally and utterly out of my depth here.
We were told in no uncertain terms that whilst the guards and the coordinators would do everything in their power to protect us, our protection wasn't guaranteed. And there is this undercurrent. There's a latent tension in here that just makes you feel that any second something could boil over and there could be trouble. And while I'm trying to keep a poker face, it is making me nervous.
Now it's time to check out the cell Neri has assigned me to.
So on the way to my cell number 25. And I'm already attracting a hell of a lot of attention here.
Cell 25 is only half the size of a squash court. It was built for 7 people, but now 22 inmates live and sleep in here. They're all under the control of a coordinator called Walter, who's serving an 18-year sentence for drug dealing.
I will explain the rules that we have in this Bartolina. You need to ask your family to bring you a bucket so that you can shower, as there's a bathroom outside. You have to ask your family to bring a small mattress because you will sleep here, and this is the only available space.
So here on the ground?
Yes, next to the other inmates.
Okay.
If someone disrespects you or wants to fight with you, you need to come here and let me know about it. I'll punish that person so you don't fight.
As an inmate with no cash, I'm at Walter's disposal, and his power is absolute.
This is the toilet.
Well, since you didn't bring any money with you, you will collect water for me.
There's no running water in Danley, so all 700 inmates use this trough to collect it so they can flush their toilets and wash themselves.
And I'll tell you what, the water is not warm. There are no warm showers in Danley.
Just put it in there.
This is how we shower. Dumping buckets of water on our heads, so no running water. Don't know why I'm bothering with the gym membership. Do this every day, you'd be as fit as a fiddle.
When you finish this, take a mop and clean the floor.
No problem. You can feel it's all eyes on me. This must be what it's like for an inmate on their first day out here in the courtyard. It's sport for the audience, seeing how much they struggle with this stuff.
If I was locked up in here for years, who knows how long I'd last at this. I'm exhausted, and it's got to be well over 30 degrees in this cell.
All right. We're in business. Job done.
Here's some bleach. Mix it with water to get rid of the bad smells.
In this cell and in this heat, it makes absolute sense to keep things clean. If they don't, disease can spread rapidly.
I didn't think that level of importance was going to be placed upon hygiene, but, you know, that's another preconception. Another thing I presumed before I got in here, blown out of the water. So, Walter, if I have no money in here, and I'm here for 8 years, I have to do this for 8 years. Is that how it works?
Yes, you worked for 8 years.
After mopping the entire cell for another 45 minutes, Walter has one more job for me.
So I've got to take this. This is tissues from people going to the toilet. Because you can't flush the toilet. You know what's on it. Aquí?
Yes, put it in the container.
Okay. Jesus. Okay, fucking hell. I ain't picking that up, I'll tell you.
Oi, there are some tissues down there. Pick them up.
Okay.
With work wrapped up, it's about time I say hello to my cellmates.
Paul.
I hope they go easy on me, mind you. I've just spent hours cleaning up after them.
Somehow I'm still shitting myself. Why is that? But I won't do it here, I promise. Bravo. Back where you were, buddy. Well done. That is the least expected round of applause I think I have ever gotten in my entire life.
It's hard to understand how this place operates at all, with plumbing that's positively medieval and no running water. Their food situation, though, is even worse. Inmates eat whatever they can find, even rats. But today we're lucky. There's been a donation of fresh vegetables, hopefully enough to feed all 700 inmates. So I'm going to go help head chef Ventura and his crew make lunch.
Down here?
Yes.
Lunch. What do we have for lunch around here? What kind of things?
Vamos a comer pollo a mediodía.
We are going to eat spicy chicken, salad with tomatoes, carrots.
Ensalada.
With the microwave and hobs clearly broken, Chef Ventura's team have got their work cut out here, making 3 meals every day and cooking with only the most basic of equipment.
So this is your kitchen. This is it.
Yes, this is the kitchen.
And it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes, that's correct.
That's incredible. So in those 3 big pots, that's where the food comes from every day.
Yes, that's what we use.
You play a bit of...
Ventura is coming to the end of his 15-year sentence.
So what was the crime you committed in the first place that put you in here, Ventura?
Murder.
And what were the circumstances of the murder? What happened?
This guy wanted to harm me, so in order to defend myself, I did it.
And was it just a flashpoint, sort of one moment of anger and you couldn't control yourself? Is that what happened?
He jumped on me 3 times, attacking me. I told him not to fight with me, but he gave me no choice. I had to take action.
It's telling how many murderers claim they killed in self-defense.
And how did it happen? Was it a fight? Was it a knife fight? Was it a gun fight?
It was with a machete. I got him with a machete.
So I'm chopping up vegetables with a man that killed another man with a machete.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take a step back. Is that all?
No. It is nothing to worry about. We only have nice thoughts here. Be cool. Pass me another cucumber, please.
So when you think back to the murder, do you regret it or do you think you'd do the same thing today, Ventura?
No, I regret it, because I do not wish prison on even my greatest enemy.
So can you introduce me to the guys that you have working with you today?
He is Merlin.
Merlin is 19 years old. He lives in a cell where the guards put prisoners who need to be kept isolated from the main population for their own safety. This is cell 33, and most of its occupants are ex-gang members or sex offenders.
So Merlin, what brought you here? What did you do to land yourself in cell number 33?
I'm here for murder.
So what happened?
This lady accused me of stealing her money, but it wasn't me. It was someone else, so... Then I decided to come in and kill her.
How did you kill her, Merlin?
I killed her with a machete. I'm ashamed of it. In that moment, I was drunk and I just had killing her in my mind, so I just did it.
So what happened afterwards? Did you hand yourself in?
I gave myself in as the police came looking for me at my house.
And the woman you killed, did you know her?
Yes, she was my aunt. My mother's sister. She lived nearby.
When you first hit her with the machete, did she die straight away, Merlin, or did it take her time to die?
She died quickly. After I attacked her, she died quickly.
Will your mother welcome you back into the family, even though you killed her sister?
Yes, I'm her favorite son, and she says she will take me back.
If Merlin really is her favourite son, God knows what the others are like. He talked so casually about his crime. But then Honduras is the murder capital of the world. What a tragedy for his family, and an unforgettable experience for me.
So that most definitely is not something that I'm going to be doing every day of my life, is it? Preparing and chopping vegetables with 2 blokes that have killed people with machetes, and that's the reason that they're in here. I suppose it brings to mind, again, the fact that Danley is so incredible and so absolutely unique, and that it is, for all intents and purposes, a village with all the working parts. Just happens to be the case that a lot of the people here are murderers and rapists.
I don't think it would take long for me to fall to pieces in here, surrounded by unpredictable, violent criminals. So, I want to find out if the coordinators really do protect us inmates.
Wilmer.
Hi, nice to meet you.
How's it going? Are you well?
I'm doing okay.
Are these pictures of your children?
This picture of my children. This is my Bible where it keeps me, going every day.
Keeps you sane.
Yes.
Wilmer, how many people are in this Bartolina?
19, and this is a small place. 2 of them sleep underneath my bunk.
Underneath here?
Yeah. They put the mattress inside and they sleep in there.
And do you know what crimes everyone in here has committed?
Yeah, the majority of them, they are here for murder, rape, extortion, and really scared. I won't do that time.
Wilmer claims to be a low-level criminal, but he was slapped with an 18-year sentence for nicking a car whilst high. In Danley, he's always feared for his safety.
Yeah, I've never been with these kind of people like that, and in a place where you don't, like you see, you don't have a security for real.
Yeah.
And if anybody can want to hurt you.
Are the coordinators sorting that element out for you? Are they the ones that are keeping watch over you?
You are in your own in here. You know what I mean? So the best thing is be quiet. You can see anything, you don't see nothing. You can hear anything, you don't hear nothing.
Don't be a snitch.
Don't be a snitch inside prison. And also trying to respect those people that have the control inside here. The guard, they don't control in here, for real. Who controls here are the inmates.
My name's Paul Connolly, and I'm on a mission to find out how one of the poorest and toughest prisons on the planet operates. The situation here is so desperate that Danley is run by the inmates themselves.
As determined or keen as the guards here are to assume, to take back control, they've no choice. They simply can't. And, depending on your opinion, depending on how you look at it, the government here either can't or won't invest the kind of cash that's needed to effect real change.
And until that happens, it's the baton-wielding prisoners making the rules. The last time the Honduran authorities tried to take control, in 2014, the whole prison kicked off. As seen here in footage filmed by an inmate, prisoners went berserk. Leading the charge were the coordinators who took on and beat back the police. One of the riot's ringleaders was Henry. 3 years into a 9-year stretch, having been nicked in a stolen car with an illegal gun. He is one of the prison elite, a coordinator and a bodybuilder who runs the prison gym. Nobody messes with Henry.
I've really never seen anything like the control that the coordinators have here. You guys are you're like a little army.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are like a little army.
So I've heard a few years ago there was a riot here. So what happened? What kicked it off?
What happened was that they come here to do surgery,
So who did? Who came?
The military, the police. So they come over here with they said they're gonna do a search for arms and drugs. But when they got inside, everybody's got mad and
everybody got involved
in that thing, yeah. And the police went, they ran out. Because everybody was beaten that day.
So that day, were the coordinators and the other inmates, you were all fighting together?
All fighting together, yeah. They keep them out of here, yeah.
And did they find anything? Did they find any drugs or guns?
They don't find nothing because the fight started entre us and the police. Okay. And they don't take nothing out, too.
They didn't get anything?
And they didn't even come back again because that thing it was crazy that day.
From what I can tell, the military police wouldn't have to look too hard for drugs in here. You only need to sniff the air to tell what they're smoking.
I have a nose, and you walk around and you can smell the marijuana around here. You can smell it.
I was in United States in prison.
Yeah.
And the drugs, I think no jail can stop that.
Yeah.
No, the drugs was there too. Marijuana, cocaine, no.
And is there cocaine here as well?
I don't know. I don't want to answer that question. I don't want to get told.
I think I know what that means.
Okay. If you see the prison, it's like minimum.
Yeah.
So they can do so many ways. Throw it
over the wall.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for looking after me. All right. See ya.
What's extraordinary about this place is there's only the flimsiest of barriers between the inmates and the outside world. No wonder the jail is full of drugs. It makes for an extremely unstable situation. One potential flashpoint is the hostility that surrounds cell 27, the most hellish in all of Danley. In here, prisoners serve time for what's referred to as special rape. Mostly paedophiles or violent sex offenders, they're despised by the other inmates and are kept isolated. For my safety, I'm not allowed to go inside cell 27, but I am allowed to talk to Byron.
Hey, how's it going? How are you? So we can talk to you, is that okay? So what's it like in here? How difficult is it in here?
No, I don't like it staying here, man. That's not good.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's fucked up.
So how long have you been in here?
2 years and 2 months.
Okay. How long left have you got to serve?
10 years, man.
10 more years?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes,
So-
but okay, on the other side, I got a problem.
Okay.
For the people, you know, I can kill you, this motherfucker, this, you know. I'm talking about shit.
Are there weapons in here, Byron? Do people have knives?
Yeah.
Seriously? Do you sometimes fight in here?
Yeah. Every time.
Every day.
Every day. Todos los días, you know. It's una bond the time, you know.
Truly the stuff of nightmares in there. With so many dangerous criminals in such overcrowded conditions, this is one seriously volatile environment. I want to find out how the guards cope with the stress, day in and day out.
Ask him how much he wants to bet on the game.
How much is the bet? As much as you're able to lose, whatever. Here, you go first.
Lieutenant Vallejo has been on the job for more than a decade. He's one of only 15 guards on duty, looking after over 700 inmates.
Just personally, do those numbers keep you on edge a little bit, knowing that how outnumbered you are?
Sí, es bien difícil.
Yes, it's difficult.
Nosotros tenemos un lema
We have a saying that the guard does not sleep,
no duerme, sino que
but merely rests the eyes.
descansa la vista.
Eyes closed, but ears
Ojos
open.
cerrados y oídos abiertos. Nos preocupamos mucho.
It's worrying,
Porque se nos
but there
puede
could be a
dar
mass escape,
una fuga masiva.
or if there's a riot,
Porque un
anything might
motín,
happen.
Uno espera de todo.
How do you let it be known to the coordinators inside that whilst there are more of them, you're the ones that are still in charge?
Ellos a lo que más le temen es a que
The one thing they really fear is a report we might make that will ruin their file or take away a privilege.
algún beneficio, algún derecho. Y eso
This might mean not having a benefit or leaving early or when they go out on parole.
a las calles.
So they know we are the authority, not them.
Nosotros, no ellos.
Vallejo seems confident that the guards have the edge, but whilst they hold the keys, on the inside it's the prisoners who hold the power.
So if the money was there, Vallejo, do you think that this prison would work better if it was only guards in control?
La combinación
The combination works better
Why?
porque
because the prisoners who work with us are well connected. We are better positioned to know about the problems and things we don't have access to, like a secret plan or something. It works better for them and for us.
como para nosotros los policías.
For the general coordinators, can you, though, 100% trust them to do the right thing all of the time?
No se confía
We don't trust
en-
them 100%.
Vallejo's safety and that of his guards relies on communication and building trust with the inmates. But it only takes one prisoner, a single rogue element, to attack a guard or try to escape. And the most likely time for this to happen is at night. Vallejo offers to take our infrared camera into the Bartolinas with him, when only 3 guards lock up all 700 inmates.
Now it's 9 o'clock in the evening. We are doing the last lockup for all prisoners still outside of the Bartolinas. As you can see, the guards are doing the counting among the prisoners.
It takes some guts to do this job, and the key to doing it well seems to be a softly approach.
There is not a threat of prisoners attacking us as long as we keep things peaceful.
The guards work with Neri Calero, the coordinator general, to lock up all the inmates. Once all the prisoners are in their cells, guards in the watchtowers then use torches to pass messages to each other.
The guard there has his lamp and says there's nothing to report.
The last job is when Lieutenant Vallejo locks up Neri himself.
This is the Bartolina where the general coordinator lives. He sleeps in the upper section. This is what the prison looks like at 11 p.m. As you can see, no one is left in the halls.
The next morning, it's Saturday, and that means family day. Prisoners are allowed up to 3 visits a week. Wives and girlfriends can even stay overnight in the cells. The guards allow this much access to reduce tension and to keep the prisoners in line. Wilmer, the car thief who I met earlier, is hoping his other half shows up.
So your wife is due around now?
Yeah, she comes on Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 3 days that we got visiting here in prison.
All 3?
Yeah, all the 3 days she comes over here. She brings the kids only once a week, but she comes the 3 days a week.
Do you ever worry that the kids are here when there's, murderers and thieves and rapists around here? Do you ever worry about the kids being
Yeah,
here?
of course. I mean, any father is going to worry about that because anything can happen in one, moment.
It seems to be sort of an unwritten rule here. You don't mess with women.
Yeah.
And you don't mess with kids.
Yeah, you must respect all the visits, especially kids, right?
Yeah.
If you do something to somebody else's visit,
Yeah.
you can end it out even kill or
Seriously?
yeah.
It's that serious?
It's that serious.
Is it difficult to, you've no privacy, and, you're going to be doing what husbands and wives do. Is it difficult to get used to that, to pulling over the curtain, but knowing that people can listen?
You restrain yourself in a lot of things, right? You restrain your emotions.
Yeah.
You restrain your voice, but it's really hard for her. It's kind of humiliated, but we don't have another choice, so it's pretty much what we got, right? So, my wife.
Wilmer's wife, Ukraine, has brought him his favorite grub.
This is the chicken
This
soup.
is the chicken soup. This is your wife. Me llamo Paul.
Se llama Pablo.
So, Ukraine, what do you think of this place? What do you
¿Qué
think
es lo
of
que tú
Jan?
piensas de este lugar, esposo?
Hay una buena disciplina.
There is a good discipline.
Todo bien organizado.
Everything
todo
is
está
very
bien
organized.
And you don't mind bringing the kids here?
No.
No.
It's okay here.
Look, the kids and myself can't live without my husband.
Tenemos que convivir con mi esposo.
So Ukraine, how did you meet Wilmer?
¿Cómo tú me conociste a mí?
Oh, there's a story in this. I like that. I like that. What have we got?
It's a big story about it.
Un hermano de
A brother of my friend was arrested and put in the prison.
And then she invited her to come to prison to visit her brother.
Yeah.
And then she met me there.
So you met him in prison?
In prison, yeah.
So you fell for him and fell in love with him?
Yeah, for the first time.
In
It was a
prison?
love at first sight.
So you've never, between the time that you met and now today, you've never been married to Wilmer as a free man. He's always been a
Nunca
prisoner.
has estado casada conmigo como un hombre libre, sino que como un prisionero. Yep, yeah, yep.
Is that difficult?
Es difícil. Yep. It's difficult. We wish one day be free.
It's very difficult.
My name is Paul Connolly, and this is Danley, one of the toughest lockups in Honduras. It's like a prison through the looking glass, with criminals ruling the roost. My time here is nearly up, but before I go, I want to know what, if anything, inmates can do to secure early release. In Danley, prisoners are offered rehabilitation, but with money so tight, that means simply reading books from the prison library.
So if any of the prisoners in here wants to get out of here at some stage, there is a woman they need to go through. A judge, and a very formidable one at that, I'm told. And that's who I'm about to meet. Yadira, me llamo Pablo. How are you? Can I sit down? All right.
Her first appointment is Henry Salgado, the bodybuilding coordinator who was caught with a gun in a stolen motor. And it looks like today he's met his match.
Okay, Henry. I am going through your file and I am going to inform you about your legal position. You will have completed your sentence on the 12th of December 2021, and you will have the right to parole from the 12th of June next year. But we do have a problem, Henry. I have been going through the library records and I cannot see your name. You have not been coming here to read. So my question is, would you like to enjoy these pre-release benefits?
Yes, there must be something wrong. There must be records of the time I have come.
There is no record in the book. No signatures of the time you have come here to read.
In a prison where the inmates struggle to survive, it is surreal to hear these two arguing over books.
I do not know why there is no evidence in your book, but I have a book to read.
Dear, can I ask, so have you been reading the books then?
Oh, I've been reading sometimes.
But this means that if you do all this, then you could be out next year.
Next year, that's right. That's what I'm trying.
Yeah. Is the judge right though? Could you be working a little bit harder? You could. All right. Okay. So is Henry an example of what most of the inmates are like, or is he an exception?
He is like the majority. There are many in his situation. They want to benefit from something, but they do not abide by the rules. They do not want to abide by them.
It's hard to understand why Henry doesn't read more so he can get out sooner. Maybe it's because senior coordinators have a good thing going in here. They have respect, they call the shots, and even have the opportunity to run one of the many small businesses within the compound. So long as top man and convicted murderer Neri Calero allows it.
All this around here is the same. They are all cafes, businesses, refrigerators where they sell ice creams and things like that.
So this is like a little market?
Yes, that's correct. There is a place where you eat. Here is another cafeteria.
And are they chosen to open the businesses, or do they just go ahead and do it on their own?
Yes, there is just one disciplinary rule in the institution that establishes that to open a business they have to have my support as a coordinator.
Do they have to pay you a rent to have the business?
Some cafes pay weekly and the eating places pay monthly.
With all the rent from these businesses flowing into Neri's pocket, plus the money he charges inmates for beds, he's effectively a landlord to over 700 criminals. Only a very tough man can maintain that power, and I want to find out whether it corrupts him.
You know, as the general coordinator, your job has a lot of responsibilities. There's a lot involved in this that takes up a lot of your time. Do you get any payment at all? Do you get anything out of this?
Not at all. I don't get absolutely anything. What is more, when it comes to hygiene, as a coordinator, it is often down to me to provide chlorine and all sorts of things like brooms in order to clean the whole central area. The administration doesn't allow me to keep any of that money.
In a prison where you have to pay for everything, even a mattress on the ground, if what Neri says is true, this is a remarkable system based almost entirely on trust. But for a corrupt man, it would be easy to keep the cash, and from what I can tell, the guards wouldn't dare intervene. In Danley, Neri is the governor. But with all his influence, I don't quite understand why he doesn't arrange a mass escape. And it turns out I'm not the only one who worries. Prison Director Lieutenant Ponce is on the same page.
So I've heard that one of the things that you don't have enough money for are weapons and bullets if something does go wrong. Is that true?
Yes, it is true. We don't have the required equipment. We have 60 policemen and half the number of weapons.
So do you feel like you've just been ignored by the government?
Yes, I completely agree. We don't have classes, churches, kitchens, workshops. Even you can see around here the lack of security we have.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me. And I hope you let me out. You know what? There's loads of things that immediately come to mind having just spoken to Ponce. You know, he's a good guy. He genuinely cares. He's warm and is definitely in the right job. But what is very obvious, having spoken to him as well, is that he is the skipper of what is a half-sunken ship, and he has no money, no resources or support to try and bail this place out.
During my time here, I've met some of the most extraordinary characters. From Henry, the bodybuilding car thief, to Ventura, the knife-wielding killer who cooks for the entire prison. I've seen how a prison functions when normal rules are turned on their head. And, in my opinion, it works because conditions in here aren't all that different to the slums outside. Some might even be better off inside than in the poverty and the squalor beyond the prison walls.
So, I'm done, but for those I'm leaving behind, it's this incredibly unique and fragile relationship between inmates and guards that's the glue that holds this place together and stops violence from erupting at any second. But if and when that glue does come unstuck, Danley has the potential to be one of the most dangerous prisons on the planet.